There are a lot of skills in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We talked about the abilities already in a previous video and you can find them in the world, but you have to unlock the skills with skill points. Only the way you get them is quite different this time around. So in this video I want to highlight all the skills I found in the game so far and also how the new skill point system works. So a like on the video would be super appreciated. And let's go. Before we get into it, I want to highlight the sponsor of this video, Surfshark. They help you with online safety so no one can see your private messages, passwords and other sensitive data and know what you are doing online. And you also get real-time alerts when your email or password is at risk. And also you can use the VPN to watch specific TV shows that might not be available in your country anymore. Like Friends got removed in the US on Netflix, well, use the VPN to go to the Netherlands where I live, and if you then search Friends, you will see that it's still there. And there are many other examples. I showed you the one of the Lost Kingdom TV show the last time. That Viking TV show has a new season that is still not out everywhere, but going to the US as someone from the Netherlands let you watch that season. Surfshark works on all your devices and I like using the Google Chrome extension to quickly enable and disable the service. And I have now a special offer. If you follow the link in the video description and use my code, simply JorRaptor, you get 85% off plus 3 extra months for free. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can always get your money back if you are not satisfied. Again, the link is in the video description. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring the video, really helps the channel out. And now let's get back into it. So the first time you open the skill menu, it already looks pretty big. But by actually getting to the final skill in a row, fog will clear and then a ton of extra skills will appear. In one of my earlier Valhalla videos, we talked about the fact that there will be 400 nodes in total. So that's why I would not be surprised if the final skill menu at the end of the game is super overwhelming. So that's why I think the fog approach is pretty smart. So it's pretty manageable at first. The first skill node you will see is called a new beginning, and from there you can choose one of the 3 paths, although you are completely free in what direction you want to go in, or you can spend an equal amount of points in each line if you want. And as we discussed before, the Raven yellow path is more for the assassin playstyle, so here you can expect skill nodes like stealth training, increasing your stealth attacks, poison potency, so increasing the damage of your poison attacks. It's kind of similar as we saw in Odyssey, where poison was also part of the assassin skill line with the venomous attacks. And if you watched my abilities video, then you know that there will be at least 2 poison abilities that we can use. One will add, for example, the poison effect to our regular melee hits. So it seems like poison assassin builds will be a thing again. We can also find assassination attack training that increases the damage of assassinations, so will be the difference between being able to one-hit someone or having this quick time event show up. And that quick time event is a big skill node that you can unlock called Advanced Assassination. And that's overall the thing with these skills. You have these smaller, like less exciting skill nodes that give you small stat bonuses. And by unlocking them, you're basically working towards these more prominent skills that also have a small video. And I will showcase more of them a little later in the video. First I want to go over some more small node examples. For Raven we namely also got melee attack training that increases your melee attack damage and melee critical precision that increases your crit chance for regular attacks. But again, Raven is for the assassin playstyle, while the Red Bear line is more focused on the warrior playstyle. In the bear line you can also expect many nodes that increase your melee damage, like there are way more of them compared to the Raven line. You can also enhance the damage of all your abilities and of your heavy attacks, but there are actually also a lot of defense small skill nodes here, like we see the heavy attack resistance that increases your bonus armor against all heavy attacks, or just regular armor training. And you see footage here from Prestige is Key and I will leave a link to his video in the video description. We only got a handful of skill points to spend per skill session, so that's why it's nice to look at other people as well. And Prestige is key also found the heavy shield training that increases your proficiency with heavy shields. I don't think we've seen those heavy shields in action yet, only the regular round shields, although the enemies were using these tower shields, so we can likely use them as well, which is awesome. Another small note you can expect are the adrenaline upgrades. So pretty huge, because this gives you an extra adrenaline slot, so you can basically do more abilities before it has to recharge again. And as far as I know, all or at least most of the abilities cost just one adrenaline slot. Like here in the Assault I have 2 of these slots. Then I do the ranged poison strike, so I get poison on my arrows. That costs 1 adrenaline bar. And then I combine it with the multi-shot to hit multiple enemies at once, and that cost me 2 adrenaline bars in total. And even super powerful abilities like that Viking harpoon that was shown in the deep dive trailer cost only 1 adrenaline bar. So unlocking a brand new one will totally be a great way to spend your skill points, because it has a huge impact on the gameplay. Going back to the more bigger skill nodes, one I really loved was the sprint attack that lets you do this powerful strike after sprinting. I used it a lot against one of the bosses when I saw an opening to deal a lot of damage real quick. I ran up to her and then I was able to quickly retreat most of the times as well. Another skill in this blue wolf line is called bow to melee link, and this lets you do extra damage if you quickly switch between the bow and your regular melee weapon in combat. And I totally like to do that, so it will be nice to get some bonus damage for that. And overall this wolf skill line is focused on the ranged attacks. Smaller skill nodes you can expect here are increased ranged damage or increasing the impact of your weapons. Not really sure what that means. And we just find like other ones that we've already seen before, also in this skill line. So overall, each color has its own unique skill nodes, but there are some like melee damage increase that will just appear everywhere. Another big wolf skill is called emergency aim. That is actually quite nice for stealth players, giving you a chance to kill the enemy off that spotted you. Something we saw in Odyssey as well. And a big new combat feature in Valhalla are these stun finishers that you can do after stunning an enemy by hitting their weak spot or doing a certain ability, and then this cool animation plays. And well, if you do not want to run up to the enemy to perform this finisher, you can also finish them off with your bow with the bow stun finisher skill. In the Raven part we got backstab, where you want to focus on the back of the enemy to deal increased damage and causing them to stagger, and after an enemy is staggered on the ground you can stomp them to deal a ton of damage and most of the times finish them off. And this is an early bear skill that you need to unlock. And other early bear skills are the parry damage. Successfully parrying also deals damage to the attacker. And parrying is possible with hitting L1 at the right time, and I found it way easier to pull off with a shield than with a regular weapon. And speaking of regular weapons, you can switch them around between your right and left hand with the dual swap skill. In terms of bows, we got the light bow back, my favorite bow from Origins, and with the light bow combo skill, the bow deals more damage on consecutive shots. So I don't even think that you have to hit the enemy. Just keep shooting and you will deal more damage. You find a similar skill for the Predator bow in the Raven section, and this sniper bow is of course famous for the guided arrow. Well, that is also back in Valhalla. You need to unlock a skill first that you find pretty far in the Raven section. A really nice skill that I want to try and get as soon as possible is the Berserk's Metal, so then you do not lose adrenaline while taking damage. Seems like a great passive skill to unlock as soon as possible. But you also want to get skill points to upgrade your overall power. We see it indicated here, and every time you spend a skill point, it raises that power by 1. And this indicates how much damage you deal to enemies and how much damage they do to you. Sometimes in Odyssey I would be sitting like on a lot of ability points, but in Valhalla you immediately want to spend them because that means that you also directly increase Eivor's power. So that's basically your level. Only the way to increase it is differently balanced. Like killing enemies gives a very small bit of XP that then fills this icon on the top right corner of the screen, and when that is full you get 1 skill point. Other short and one-time activities give you more XP immediately, but there will also be main story missions or other activities that just immediately award you with a skill point. Stack the boulders and you get 1 skill point. And what is interesting is that bosses also give a set amount of skill points, but it depends on their challenge. Like these more mythical bosses, where Eivor was drugged, gave me 2 skill points, while a really strong fighter that killed me many times gave me 4 skill points when I finally defeated him. So are you a good player and took the time to figure out the boss, then you will raise in power even faster. Valhalla really rewards exploring the world, way more so than the previous games, where you could, for example, just farm a conquest battle or do bounties in one area to reach the max level eventually. Now in Valhalla you really have to seek out these one-time activities to get skill points, and then you do not only raise your power, but you also unlock an extra bonus or a special skill. And other skills I found were Brush with Death, the familiar slow time when you perfectly dodge an enemy, and the Chain Assassinate is back. I already showcased this in a previous video, but now you throw the axe to another enemy after assassinating another target. It's kind of comparable to what we saw in Origins. And while there will be fall damage in Valhalla, there will be this break fall skill pretty early in the Raven section. So instead of having to manually press a button when you hit the ground, the game will now automatically do it, reducing the damage that you get when jumping off a high mountain. Subscribe for way more on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I really have way more content coming your way, but already got a ton of stuff on the channel as well. Just hit the bell icon as well to be notified when a new Valhalla video goes live. A like on the video would be super appreciated. And don't check out my previous video on all the abilities that we know of so far. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.